So Regenesis is the process of midwifing and rebirthing the human condition on all levels. If we take a moment to consider the concept that it invokes an image of letting go of all that doesn't work personally, socially, and globally, and allowing that to be compost for an innovative approach to build, design, and architect the future that we truly want. We must focus on every aspect of the life experience, from spirituality to art and culture, the environment and stewardship of it, health and wellness of spirit, mind, and body, the idea of alternative economic and governance models, green and renewable energy, appropriate science and technology, independent media and communications, and peace and justice.
And we're back. It's our intro for our weekly show called Regenesis, focused on midwifing the new humanity, the new earth, the new paradigm, and a new design. I'm your host, Michael DiMartino, and happy March as we quickly approach the spring equinox. And I'm really inspired. I'll be heading to Palenque in a few days for the gathering of the eagle and the condor, also the quetzal and the hummingbird, and many other of the tribes from around the world, and of course the lighting of the sacred eighth fire with Chief Phil Lane Jr. Well, we have a great show for you today, and as always, we're not going to just do ear tickling, but we want to showcase the amazing people and projects and platforms that are helping to kind of midwife in this whole new era of human history and evolution. And today I'm joined by Jerry Anderson. He's the abbot at the Mystic Monastery Project in Puerto Rico, and he's a friend. He's also a water protector. I know him through the water protector gathering at Standing Rock. And welcome to the show, Jerry.
Thanks very much, Michael. What a joy to share time together and explain and share with the world another kind of project that's regenerative and at the same time respectful to the indigenous knowledge of how to care for the Mother Earth. So I take a deep bow to all the relatives here that are listening to this recording. We've been humbled to be the stewards of some of the most sacred ground in all of the Caribbean area in Puerto Rico. The river you see behind me here actually is the Tanama River, and the culture and the mythology and so forth is about this holy river that flows 19 miles through our property in Puerto Rico. So yes, our rainforest.
So let's start with this before we dig into the project.
Yeah.
And great image. I was wondering how you're getting such good Wi-Fi signal from a cave in Puerto Rico right now, but it's obviously an image, and it's great because it's allowing people to really see a little more of your project. And also, you have a video coming up in just a little bit where we're going to get an actual tour in the big picture. But let's talk about Jerry Anderson for a minute before we dig into all this stuff. And you had mentioned that you're an abbot, and just talk a little bit about how you got to be involved in the work that you do as an abbot, and some of the other things that kind of help inspire you to be able to midwife this project in Puerto Rico.
Well, somewhere around 40 years ago, I made a commitment to the Home Office, our creator, that I was available. I didn't really have to specify what that is. And over these last 40 years or so, the Home Office has used me in many different situations and blessed me in many ways. For many years, I was a traveling hands-on healer all through the Southwest in the 90s and so forth. And it was really waterfalls of grace, Michael, that happened as to how all of what I'm going to tell you about happened. I'm a member of one of the Order of Knights, and the assistant to the Grand Master says to me that he says, I hear that you're interested in making a school for young men to learn natural healing methods. I said, yes. And he said, well, I have 1/10 of 3,300 acres, 330 acres that I would like to donate to starting a school or a university or any type of thing like that. So make a long story short, by the time we actually went to the registrar's office, the lady there says, do you know your land touches land that's never, ever been claimed? And long story short, found out there was 10,000 acres. And so she said, being a nonprofit, we're going to protect the nature and so forth. You have as much right as any to ever claim it. So in long story short, the monastery there in Puerto Rico is over 10,000 sacred acres, rich, vibrant, virgin rainforest with enormous number of caves, huge, I mean, stadium size inside of caves in our property there.
So could you explain, and what's fascinating on this show, we talk to many people who work in all areas of what we call regenerative areas of design, some spiritually, arts and culture, other deal with renewable green energies, other are in agriculture or the idea of sovereignty, others work in alternative economic models and media and health. But what I find fascinating is right now with this whole kind of regenesis, this recreation, this rebirthing and midwifing, that all the people we talk to really have gone through some sort of spiritual awakening to help usher them to really the work that they're doing right now. So I wanted to acknowledge that. And also, could you elaborate a little bit about, for those who might not know, I see that you're wearing the collar and you had mentioned you're an abbot. Can you expand on that a little bit so people understand really who you are and what you're doing?
Yes. The best and simplest way for our audience I can explain it is that as we started to see that we wanted to embrace indigenous teachings and wisdom, we found that there was a conflict between our governments and their abilities to practice these kind of rituals and ceremonies. And so we were approached to make our property an ecclesiastical nation, so that we had the separation of church and state the same way that the Vatican does between Italy and itself. So we went that route, and so part of the whole image that we have is around a monastery, just so that we have that separation of church and state on our property.
And not, and of course you work a lot with indigenous people. It's not a monastery where you're necessarily coming from a colonial centric mindset of coming in and converting and changing people. But also, I mean, what's fascinating is you're working with the indigenous population and acknowledging them and doing something that's actually inclusive of your faith and belief, but also acknowledging the spiritual. They're called the Taino people.
Taino, yes.
Taino people.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And so a fascinating story.
Comment about what you just said is that the way that I describe it is we often see a beautiful pyramid, and it's one like we saw in Egypt and so forth. But in the Star of David or Solomon, you have an upside down one pointing down, making the Star of David. And so it's like one monastic teachings. An interesting thing is almost all the monastic traditions on the earth come from a desert, okay? And the other is a pointing down. And if you go to a Native American ceremony, the first thing they do is they ask permission from the Mother Earth. It's the beginning of a ceremony is to honor there. So we're the first ones to put the upward pointed pyramid and the downward pointed pyramid together.
Very interesting. I know I'm also, I think I'd mentioned I'm an interfaith minister.
Yeah.
And I went to a 2.5-year seminary program called the New Seminary. And the first year we studied various world religious traditions, everything from, polytheism, where they believed in many different deities and gods, things like Santeria, where they believe in the spirits of nature and many different traditions.
Taino was a polytheistic.
Absolutely. Well, many of the indigenous traditions, actually, the first monotheistic religion was really Zoroastrianism, where they believed in what they called Ahura Mazda, which is like an ascended winged aspect of human beings. So, but in the program, we studied Zoroastrianism, Taoism, Confucianism, Hinduism, various aspects of Buddhism, Christianity, aspects of Christianity and Catholicism, Judaism. We studied a lot of the different pre-Christian traditions from Europe. People might call them pagan traditions, and even went into things like Baha'i, which was a newer religion, even beyond Islam. We studied Islamic. And what's interesting is the Baha'i tradition believes in the unity of humanity, regardless of whatever your religious preference or the name that you give the god or goddess or however you express that. And there's an old saying in Baha'i, so powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole world. So I really appreciate our time together talking about these things. And what another thing I appreciate is coming from this concept of unity. We have a lot of differences, but most importantly, we're a connected humanity, all connected through source energy, whatever people call that, God, the creator, Yod-Heh Vov-Keh, Buddha, Ahura Mazda.
I like how the Bible says it in double negatives. Indivisible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So, so tell us, what are you up to in Puerto Rico? Give us a little background, and then we'll go over to the video here in a few minutes.
Well, I like to say, first of all, that the strongest influence on what I'm about to say and what has happened is from the Ascended Master Saint Germain, and also the disciple Thomas of India in 54 AD, because their influence on everything we've been doing has obviously started long before we became part of this situation. What we're doing is, if you're familiar with Maslow's pyramid, the lower levels of, shelter and food and so forth, if you have those taken care of, you can ascend up this pyramid to where you have time at the top to actually be learning spiritually, growing spiritually, so forth at the peak. So the idea is a monastery, and the monks is a non-gendered term. It doesn't matter, where the monks can have a sanctuary in nature to study spiritual and conscious, meditate, work together, and not have to think about their first level of the Maslow's pyramid. It's there. So the long-term range of this project is to take and gather the different wisdoms of the indigenous and of the monastic people together, so that we have some type of a library held in a sacred space until the next age is upon us, and it can be brought out and all disseminated what the ancient wisdom was that was underground all that time, because we have tons of caves on our property.
Amazing.
So short range. One of the other short range things is, because I'm kind of like you, I think the monks should have their boots on the ground and making things happen. And so the way that the monastery's first vision is as an outreach has been called Speak with a Monk. And what this is a suicide hotline where you could call and talk to one of our monks. We're not going to, give them any kind of like instructions, but the problem is when a person is in that panic kind of space, they're breathing the wrong way. And so our monk on the other end is just going to coach them how to breathe properly, exhale properly through your nose and so forth, so that they can activate their consequential part of their mind. And so that's one of the outreaches that the monks will be involved with from the beginning, is this situation in some states in the United States among teenagers. It is the highest death rate is to suicide.
Wow. Compassion in action, like you said, boots on the ground.
Yeah.
So how many people are there actually people on the land right now? Is there a structure? Is there what's kind of happening on the ground there before we go to the video?
Well, on the ground, it's a preserve of nature still. We haven't put any buildings or anything on the property. In the video, you're going to see drone footage of all the different parts of the river and some of the caves and so forth. We have built a embassy because our property is the nation of St. John as an ecclesiastical sovereign country. And we have an embassy in our closest city there in Lares, Puerto Rico, which is a 1,500 square foot office space that is our main base station now, as we are getting ready to start actually construction and all those kind of things.
Wow.
Yeah,
incredible. I'm packing my suitcase right now. And I think one of the things before we go to the video that's fascinating is, as you know, I've been involved in regenerative design, and I mean, we used to call it sustainability, but we've known about sustainability for 50, 60 years, and even before that, indigenous community for thousands of years. But we really have to go beyond just sustaining right now. We need to regenerate and innovate at all levels. And part of that is letting the old fall away. Like Buckminster Fuller says, we can't spend all our time and energy fighting a system that doesn't work. We have to create one that does work and have it as a living example. But we're in this age of regeneration where the old is falling away. I think the last few years of the pandemic showed people how volatile our society and these human-made systems are, but also what's happening with climate change, whether you believe it's a natural cycle of the planet or humans are contributing to it, or it's a collaboration. I don't, all these things can be highly politicized, but the reality is that these things are happening, and really they're happening on a global scale. So I'm really intrigued about your project, and we have this project that we're doing with Earthstal called Build Back Green. We did a emergency response in Hawaii after the fire, in Maui, and we're currently doing a campaign in Acapulco after the hurricane. But part of it is that we really, like you said, boots on the ground. We want to get regenerative solutionaries on the ground to help design and to build and to co-create and collaborate building these. You can see I wore my City of Light shirt
Yes.
today. I used to live in Nevada City, California. We actually changed the name to Nirvana City. And there was if you've ever heard of Edgar Cayce, he was called the Sleeping Prophet. He would dream and he would say things, and literally hundreds of his dreams, things he said while dreaming, came true. But he had talked about these cities of light emerging on the planet at this time of great accelerated collapse. And he actually had said the name Nevada City. But there are many cities of light that are emerging as these hubs of this new earth, new humanity, new paradigm, and new design. So I'm actually really thinking like at some point coming to visit and spend some time in retreat there. And also, we have a whole group, as you know, of solutionaries, and seeing how we can support this vision. So amazing. You were, like you said, you were divine timing at the right place at the right time, and you took your vows, and here you are bringing an Eden, a beautiful, lush Eden forth. So before we go to the video, is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, you'll see the beauty of this place is beyond many of our national parks here. It's such a gorgeous nature preserve here. Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, well, if you want to put on the video, I just gave you the host to share screen, and we're going to take a little, I guess, like a little 10 or 15-minute virtual visit through the property, the Mystic Monastery in Puerto Rico. And if you're just getting on the video, again, I'm speaking with Abbot Jerry Anderson, who is kind of helping to bring this beautiful jewel of spiritual potential, partnering with the indigenous to the world. So whenever you're ready.
Okay. I just went to screen share. Okay.
And turn off your camera.
Yeah. Let me get this done first here. You tell me if you can see it.
Yeah, turn off your camera so it doesn't crash
Yeah.
first, though. Yep.
Yeah.
It's not working because your camera's on, Jerry. There's no audio.
Prepare and equip future generations of light healers and saints. Our vision is to effectively and permanently raise the vibrations of the human collective consciousness worldwide. The Mystic Monastery is located in Puerto Rico, the island of enchantment, a U.S. territory that has mountains, waterfalls, and a unique tropical rainforests and beaches. Not far from the Mystic Monastery lies the Arecibo Observatory, the world's largest radio telescope, built to observe the expanding limits of deep outer space. The telescope is our neighbor, a beacon, and an ally. Our Mystic Monastery marks the beginning of building a similar endeavor. However, our focus is towards the inward odyssey of the space within. The significance of the word mystic is essential to acknowledge as we begin our understanding. Mystic means empty. Empty of dogmatic theologies, ideologies, inclusion of all spiritual framework. The Mystic Monastery encourages all to follow their intuitive path with two crucial principles. Number one, know thyself, foundation of every religion around the world. And number two, be aware of the energetic balance by doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule, and also in every religion around the world. In light of how we define mystic, we enthusiastically claim copyright to the word MYSTIX. Mystic with an X. Monastery stands for a cloistered community of spiritually minded people from across the planet dedicated to study and foster a passion for the inner life, healing, and aiding others in their journey to find purpose. St. John the Baptist was a powerful, wise mystic who helped mentor Jesus and laid the groundwork of our hybrid healing practice. Like a cross between monastic healing, light work, hands-on healing, and prayer, and indigenous or traditional healing, the use of medicinal and herbal remedies and healings from nature. St. John was regarded as the wilderness doctor, focused on empowering the patient with the knowledge to heal oneself. Thus, the anatomy of our name holds the foundation for the teachings of the university and the healing practices of the monastery. Another way to describe our practice is called the law of one. It is the understanding that we're all connected as part of a greater whole vertically and horizontally. Call it God, consciousness, creator, great spirit. The law of one urges us to transcend dualities such as good and evil, heaven and hell, yin and yang, etc. Those who choose to participate in studying at the Mystic Monastery will be known as healer monks. Tucked between the hills along Puerto Rico's most sacred river, these individuals will embark on a journey to enrich their healing abilities, expand their inner awareness, and build upon a sacred convergence of thousands of spiritual ideologies. This exciting endeavor of listening, building, and collaborating knowledge from all the major religions as well as traditions and indigenous healings practices will empower the monks with critical tools and skills to assist others in search for purpose, clearing unprocessed emotions, healing traumatic emotions and psychological wounds. One of our teachings originates out of France. The teacher has volunteered her time and knowledge to the monastery to contribute her innovative teachings of mapping of the emotions and the effects on the human glands, organs, and psychological systems. In addition to hosting spiritual healing teachers from around the world, we will also be providing the grounds as a working lab or a sanitarium, a place in the country where one can recover from health or emotional challenges. And for those looking to continue refining, there is a sanitarium, a place in the country where one can recover from health or emotional challenges. And for those looking to continue refining their practice and expand their reach in the healing arts. Understanding mystic means empty. The goal of the monastery is not to drill a script or a single ideology or structure, but rather empower all to take a step back and embrace all religions, spiritual and esoteric. Frameworks as cultural or historical lenses on the divine. Love is our way. Love makes no demand for control, categorization, or exclusion under the law of one. By immersing our study in nature, we're encouraging and constantly reminding each other that we are all interdependently connected. It's essential that each individual takes ownership of the connecting the dots of their own life into understanding the unique architecture of the creation we live in and how each person plays a specific role in the cosmic dance of life. It's up to each person to empower and embody the lesson of two questions. What do you want to be more like? And what do you want to be less like? Every person is responsible for finding and living their own truth. Our students, also known as healer monks, will embark on a lifelong curriculum anchored on self-awareness and of community. Graduation will be marked by the students' knowledge, use, and understanding of the law of one. Only a handful of mystics have graduated to the title of Ascended Master. One of the mystics, Saint Germain, was an early spiritual soul to graduate, who chose to remain on earth for the benefit of humanity in aiding others in their journey towards spiritual ascension. It is said that Saint Germain's spirit influenced the clandestine organization of the 13 colonies, translation of the King James Version of the Bible, and even the Constitution of the United States. He continues to guide the global awakening we are witnessing as old models of education, government, religion, and science undergo visible rebirth cycles. Our community will function as a beacon light of education and empowerment to help in Saint Germain's vision of an awakened, aware, and loving world of oneness. There are 4 branches of the Mystic Monastery's outreach. The first, we will launch and maintain an online social network focused on providing a platform for light workers around the world to share, learn, and grow their spiritual practices. The Mystic Monastery has the domain name of onetribe.cafe for this use. Number 2, we will maintain a suicide hotline offering spiritually sensitive counseling and support both for practitioners and the general public, called talk with a monk. And number 3, we will extend selected invitations to musical groups around the world to perform at the majestic caves found on the property. Our concerts will use the power of music and community to help reconnect with nature. Number 4, on-campus mystic play shops of guidance and training to expand your experiences. The significance of our work. It's impossible to ignore the global epidemic of suicide. One of our pillars will be to empower our monks with profound tools to help lower suicide rates in our respective communities. Statistics now show that people are more likely to be of danger to themselves than all crime and wars combined. I'll repeat that. Statistics now show that people are more likely to be of danger to themselves than all crime and war combined. Additionally, some states in the United States report the leading cause of death for teenagers is suicide. Spiritually speaking, when a person considers suicide, it's a reflection of their soul's frustration in its search for purpose. Our monks will be empowered with powerful ancient healing technologies tailored to help others find their own way, reclaim their agency and power from harmful pharmacological solutions. Our practice is rooted in the return to nature for life, healing, and connection. We will grow our own food, live sustainably, encourage all to follow their own path by listening to the guidance found in the trees, flowers, rivers, herbs, and the pulsing information that surrounds us. The mystic road is not paved by books, strict frameworks, but rather by intuitive teachings of nature. The natural route is the old way, providing a very fresh approach to modern medicine. Monks will help individuals reconnect with themselves and make sense of their own history, traumas, and life experiences to reclaim authority over their own health, well-being, and life. In summary, here's a compelling account of a mystic experience of the profound light within us all. I began to experience feelings I didn't believe were compatible with the physical body, and immense expansion of my being, and a light, something like a star, came to me, allowed me to fuse with it, and I felt love, absolutely, and infinite peace, plenitude, an interminable orgasm that came not from my genitals, but from my heart and my soul. In accord with one of our driving principles, to know thyself, it's important for a moment to reflect on this outside of our regular meaning of self. Let's take our lens of interconnectedness with all life and ask ourselves, who really is self? Can we build a university of thought, a community, and a practice to ripple across the planet, undoing the ideas of separation? Can we look deep within, past the noise, through the distractions, beyond the mind's obsession, fears, and reservations? Can we see capital O-N-E? Can we see one? In observing space beyond and within, what is your mission here on Earth? What is the service you were created for? Some ways to participating, serving, to make this ripple of consciousness forward in time. As we clear damage from Hurricane Maria, we could use tools, equipment, tractor, and contributions from 100 to 10,000 can be made directly to a purchase, or we could use volunteers in the area website management, accounting, to volunteers on the ground for mapping the fruit trees, etc. Alternatively, maybe you would want to sponsor a young person to come and do labor. We are renovating the offices for the monastery, 1,500 square feet in Lares, Puerto Rico, our local town, and new purchase of paint and lumber and much more as labor is needed there. Soon we will need to purchase office equipment. Thank you for your presence here today, your energy and participation. After all, we're all simply enrolled in the school of life. We invite and are eager to partner with those who are interested in contributing to the Mystic Monastery. Whether you're interested in becoming a healer monk or can offer your time, talent, thought, presence, or simple encouragement, we warmly thank you. The Creator's richest blessings to you all.
Wow, fantastic presentation.
I can
You know,
I can send it to you, and we can edit it in and use the
yeah. Let's talk production offline. So we wanted to talk a little bit more, but there's so much to ingest right now. I also have something that's kind of demanding my attention at the moment, but to tell you the truth, I think we should do another one and really even dive in deeper, because there's been a lot of things touched on, and this is a big concept and a huge project. I would love to present this at one of our future Tao regenerators groups, because I know that you need some support. But
and you know how it kind of ties in many different areas of sustainable agriculture, cultural healing of the cultures, and many different areas that the regenerative earth stop ceremony is.
Well, it's very interesting, because right now, I mean, your place, we were trying to do a project here in Colorado called the Academy for Regenerative Culture, and it was the same type of thing, spiritual focus, but more high desert. But what I'm sensing and what you're creating with the Mystic Monastery is incredible. I mean, this is a legacy level project. I think it warrants more discussion and another drop-in. But why don't we conclude for today's podcast? Because I also know that asking people's attention for an hour can be a lot. So if people wanted more information, how would they get in touch with you? And what's your website again, Jerry?
The website is Mystic, MYSTIC Monastery, MONASTERY, and then the letters SJB, that stands for St. John the Baptist.com.
Incredible. And watching the video, I couldn't help but thinking about St. Francis of Assisi, who, of course, a big part of the Franciscans were just quiet, contemplative, mystic time in immersion in nature and having direct communication with spirit. Very, very mystical. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll be talking here soon, but thanks for coming on Regenesis. And I want to commend you for the amazing work as you're birthing your own unique, well, we won't say city of light, but definitely an epicenter of light here on the planet as part of this great awakening and rebirthing. So thank you so much. Any last words of wisdom before we go?
No, just the whole project on Earth is to get rid of the illusion of separation.
And with that, I will say amen, brother. Thank you so much. And we're going to talk more. I feel really inspired, like you're doing it, and congratulations and deep appreciation and respect for all your work. Thank you so much.
God bless all your listeners.